underdogs to favorites, we break it down. Empty Field Podcast, the talk of the town. Empty Field, where we lay it all out. Breaking down games, removing all doubt. Interviews with stars, we're bringing the heat. Sports news and odds talk that can't be beat.
Welcome to another episode of the Empty Field Podcast. My name is Mathew Hansen, and today I have the quarterback of the Kansas City Glory, number 14. She's from Omaha, Nebraska. It is Brenna Morris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Matthew?
I'm doing great. First off, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, kind of like you said, thank you for the intro. My name is
Yeah.
Brenna Morris. I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska. And yeah, for the past 3 years now, I've been playing for the Kansas City Glory. So this year, play quarterback. And I'm super excited for this season to kick off.
Perfect. What got you first started into football?
Yeah, so I have an older brother. He's 2 years older than me. And when we were growing up, he always played football his whole life. And, of course, being the younger sister to an older brother, you want to be like your older sibling. And so I just had always wanted to play football. And unfortunately, opportunity wasn't there for girls. A lot of people told me no. And so the next best sport for me that involved a lot of contact was basketball. So I ended up playing basketball in high school and competitively. And then once I graduated college, kind of the team sport itch kind of came back and got into flag football, which is where I met the Kansas City Glory coaching staff. And they said, why don't you come try out for the Kansas City Glory? And, it's kind of how the journey began.
Cool. What drew you into being a quarterback?
So my day job, I'm a mechanical engineer by degree, and I am in engineering project management. I work for a company called GBA here in Lenexa, Kansas. And I think, quarterback is like the ultimate test of football IQ. I think, being a quarterback takes a very analytical individual who can process a lot of thoughts in a short amount of time. And so I think, my day job being an engineer, thinking analytically, critically, problem solving every single day, really translates to the field when I, get a play and I have to read the defense in about 20 seconds, see what coverage they're in, see my best options. And, I think also being a project manager helps me because my job is to put, my team members in the best spot to succeed. I think the really cool thing about being a quarterback is, my job is to get the ball to my best athletes on the team. So, they can succeed and our team can succeed and, we can win the game. So, it's kind of funny how my day job and being a quarterback kind of cross over. And I just think it was, overall a really good fit for kind of my personality and the way my brain works and, the skill set I have too. So
Cool. What was life like before football?
life before football was interesting. So I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. I went to an all-girls high school. Shout out to Marion High School in Omaha, where I played basketball competitively. And then I am a lifelong Kansas Jayhawk fan. So I then went to the University of Kansas where I got my degree in mechanical engineering and didn't play any sports there. And so I think, after taking that long break in college of no sports, I was just dying to get back into, something that was competitive that would fuel my competitive drive. And yeah, I played intramural basketball, but that really quite wasn't doing it. And tried flag football since that scene is kind of booming now, and that still didn't scratch the itch that I've had since I was 8 years old of wanting to put on pads and get hit and play tackle football. So life before football was kind of boring for me. It's amazing that at the age of, I think I was 23 at the time, I kind of finally got to live out my childhood dream, something that I've been wanting for as long as I can remember. So yeah, life was boring before football.
How would you describe your playing style to someone who's never seen you play before?
Ooh, I don't want to give too much away, but
Ooh.
no, I kind of going back to what I was saying earlier. I think my greatest strength is my analytical brain. At quarterback, I really truly think that I can outsmart a defense. I I think, being from the quarterback spot, I view every single play, every single possession, every single rep as like a game of chess. How do I put my 10 other pieces in the right spot, so that we can execute and advance the ball. I think doing all the kind of incognito things that a quarterback does, clock management, um, knowing the coverages, putting all the prep, studying the other team before the game, so their defense better than they even know it. Um, I think all of those things, in addition to the skill set that you need to have to be a quarterback, which are the easy ones, like you need to be able to throw, you need to be able to, do your reads right. Um, I think my IQ and my ability to outsmart a defense is really what's going to set me apart from other quarterbacks in the league.
Cool. You brought up the whole studying the defense. How much time do you take into actually studying the defense?
So, typically, my thing's always, I can't always control how every play is going to go. I can't always control the outcome of a game. I can't control how practice is going to go. But the one thing that I can always control is how prepared I am. That is always, that ball's always in my court. And so, you know, we have practice Saturday and Sunday, starting at 12 or 1. And, when I wake up, typically I'm watching film, studying them for a couple hours during the weekends before practice. During the week when I have free time, studying film, studying our playbook. Heck, half the time when I hang out with my friends who are mostly my teammates, like we end up talking football and like the technical aspects of football and hey, what are you seeing here? What can I be doing better? How do I make your job easier on the field? So really like football is like my part-time job. And even, like I love the game so much. And so any chance that I get to improve myself, whether it be through film or talking with my teammates or my coaches, like I'll take it.
Yeah, how much do you guys go back and forth from like helping each other? You just said like you guys could be going out and say your receivers like, hey, what can I do better here? What can I improve on spots there? What does like preparation look like for you guys throughout the week for that?
hmm So, typically, so we have practice Saturday, Sunday. We practice um, almost 3 hours each day, and then Monday we have off, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we have meetings. So there's defensive meetings, special teams meetings, and then offensive meetings are on Thursday. So I, welcome the entire offense to my home where we meet in person. Um, our Coach Mike, our offensive coordinator, he'll be drawing up stuff on the whiteboard for us. We watch film of our practices, of other teams, of previous games. And that's kind of where a lot of the communication happens is on Thursday nights, right outside on my patio, kind of where, we are really analyzing what we can do better. And Coach Mike is, breaking down the plays for us so it can be more palatable for the receivers or the O line and or me as a quarterback or the running backs. So that's kind of where we break everything down on Thursdays, and then we bring it all together on the weekend at practice on Saturdays and Sundays.
Awesome. How do you handle the pressure when everyone is staring at you?
Yeah, so um I thrive under pressure. Like, and I know I think that might sound a little cliche, but I I think that's um I think pressure is a privilege. I think being put in those situations where all eyes are on you, that's something that, I one, never take for granted, and two, I'm definitely capable of being in those situations. I've been in those situations in my life, whether it be in football or outside of football. I think, at the end of the day, I don't always need the eyes on me though with the offense. Like I also want my team. I want the eyes to be on my teammates because my job is to get them the ball, my best athletes the ball, so they can go make a move and you know get us a big yardage play or go score a touchdown. So actually, my goal is to not have eyes on me at the end of the day. Um, whereas like pressure goes, like yeah, pressure's a privilege, and I absolutely take it on. And um, I think pressure's also an opportunity to kind of show everybody what you got.
Cool. What motivates you on those days where you're just like, I don't want to do anything. I'm tired. I'm sore.
Yeah, so I think kind of this a theme that's been all my life is I feel like I've always been second. I talked earlier about how I have an older brother, and so of course when we were playing PlayStation, I was always player two. In high school when I played basketball, I never was quite good enough to be a starter. I was the first person off the bench. It's same theme kind of carried in when I joined the Glory. I started off as a wide receiver. I didn't see a lot of playing time because I was new. I was a rookie. Last year, I transitioned to quarterback, where I was the backup quarterback. And so this year, being able to, have the opportunity to compete for that, starting spot that's open on our team, like I'm really excited to, you know, take on that opportunity. And so that being said, the days where I feel like, oh, I don't want to do this, the thing that rings in the back of my head is, you know, how bad do you actually want this? Um, what are you going to do to separate yourself from the other, players who might be competing for the same spot? Are you going to do whatever it takes to earn this spot? Whatever it takes to get this team into the best position so we can, ultimately win every single game. And that's what keeps me getting out of bed. That's what keeps me in the gym. That's what motivates me to, um, you know, make sure that I am doing all the things I need to do, really, so the entire team can win.
Stop. Before we continue this episode here, are you staying hydrated? No. Have you tried Hydrify? Man, it's not just flavored water. It's clean hydration with electrolytes that actually work. No sugar crash, no junk ingredients. Pretty simple. Hydrify keeps you sharp and fueled for the day. I use it because, man, it's simple, effective, and it just tastes real good. Hydrate smarter, hydrate better. That's Hydrify. Use promo code MTF to get 10% off your order. Just say, hey, Matt from the Empty Field podcast sent you.
Yeah. What's the toughest lesson that football has taught you so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the toughest lesson I've learned from football is that football has, taught me how to impact a team in a different way. And I think that was really tough for me, especially, from my basketball background. I did get playing time. Granted, I wasn't a starter. My first years in the Glory, I didn't get a lot of playing time. And so it was like, okay, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to only being on the sidelines. I can't control that. I'm going to work hard to get playing time, but what else can I do to, help this team win? So last year, being the backup quarterback, I made sure that I knew the playbook, up, down, left, right, forwards, backwards, all 11 people. I knew what was going on every single place. That was tough for me to kind of switch the mindset of like, oh, I want to compete. I want to be on the field to wait. How can I support the quarterback who is in the game so I can still make an impact on the game to ensure that we're putting ourselves in the best position in order to win? And so that mindset shift was probably the toughest thing. And that's applied to a lot of things in my life as well. So, but football definitely taught me that the most.
Yeah, that's actually a good rule of thumb because I have an older daughter and she doesn't play many minutes for basketball, but I'm like, you can still be a star out there. Just be the best person on your team, cheering them on.
And I think that's so important. Like, I preach about wanting to win a lot, but at the end of the day, win or lose, as my number one priority is to be a good teammate. Even if we lose or when we win, if I wasn't a good teammate that day, then I feel like I've failed myself and my team. So that's always number one priority for me.
Well, that actually leads into my next question. What does wearing the Kansas City Glory jersey mean to you?
Man, it for me playing this game, I definitely play it for the name that's on the front of the jersey. This organization, I found it when I was at a, really, really, really low point in my life. Things were going my way, was really tough to, get out of bed every day. And the Kansas City Glory joining the team is what gave me a new purpose in life. Um, Coach Kiki, Coach Mike, all my teammates, they really saw something in me. Those 3 years ago that I could, make an impact to the organization. after being a part of it for 2 full seasons and going into my third, I would do anything for this organization. And I have done a lot. And the organization means more to me than, you know, the game of football does at this point. So I definitely see myself, after my playing days are over and I'm forced to retire. I see myself hopefully staying with the organization either through coaching or admin or anything, because they've really given me a new sense of family and a new sense of purpose, and have really led me to some really cool people who, like I said, met me at a really low point in my life and really got me back up on my feet and headed in this new trajectory, and I'm loving every second of it.
Cool. What goals are you chasing this season?
I think from a personal perspective, I think my main goal is to, make sure that this team's culture is a positive one. I really bear that a lot on my shoulders, because I want everybody on my team to make sure that they feel, included, a part of the glory, and they love coming to practice every single day. It's so important to me that every single one of my teammates makes sure that, we see them, because that was me when I was a rookie. Like, I felt like I'm here, I'm new, I'm not really making an impact. Do people even know I'm here? And so personally for me, that's my number one goal, is to make sure that every single person on my team feels included and like they really are a part of the glory, because they are. I think as a team, our goal remains the same every year. The players just change, but the goal is always to make it to the end and win the championship at 9 Cup. But in order to do that, you got to go 1-0 every single week. So it's a fine balance between looking at the overall end goal and, what do we got to focus on this week in order to put ourselves in the position to make it to the championship. So, every week going 1-0, staying where our feet are, staying present, working hard for the team that we have up next. But then overall, we know the bigger goal in mind, the bigger picture.
Oh yeah, I always go for the championship.
Absolutely.
All right, rapid fire time. Would you rather do a short pass or a Hail Mary?
Short pass.
Film study or drills?
Ooh, I love film study.
Okay. Are you calm or intense on game day?
I am intense before and in the locker room, but I'm calm on the field.
Okay. Would you rather have a tough win or a blowout win?
Tough win.
Are you more an audible type of play caller or stick to the call?
Audible.
Would you rather win ugly or lose pretty?
Win ugly.
Okay. Would you rather get the early momentum or a late game drive?
That's a tough one. Early momentum. Start off on the right foot.
Would you rather have a loud stadium where you can't hear anything or a quiet one where you can hear everything?
Love to have a loud one, especially at home. So then the crowd knows when to be quiet and when to be loud.
One word to describe your leadership.
Inclusive.
And then one word to describe you.
Eager.
Perfect. Is there anybody you want to give a special shout out to?
For sure. I think personally, I definitely want to shout out my mom. She is like sometimes the only fan in the stands for Kansas City Glory, because she actually travels with us to all of the games. So she's definitely got the title of #1 fan for the Kansas City Glory. Shout out to my brother, because he's the reason why I really started my football journey. And then, of course, Coach Mike. Coach Mike is the one who really believes in me the most and has worked with me all off season. And I'm really excited to kind of show the fans and my teammates and other teams the work that he and I put in this offseason to really make sure that this team is in the best spot to succeed and win.
Awesome. And then where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, so I really only have an Instagram, so they can find me at Bren_Morris14. I guess I really do have also a pretty good LinkedIn presence, so you can also find me on LinkedIn, but I don't do too much of the TikTok or anything else, so stick to the Instagram and LinkedIn for sure.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming on, telling us about your story, and talking about the Glory season this year.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Matthew, for having me. It's been a pleasure. And definitely check out the Kansas City Glory because we're going to make things happen this year.
Awesome.
Fans of One T Media Production, do you guys drink coffee? Sure you do. I, myself, drink quite a bit of coffee, so I always turn to a Fuera coffee for my go-to. It's smooth, it's bold, it's not too heavy. Perfect for that early morning or when you just need to lock in for the day. The best part is, at every purchase, 5% goes back to the great outdoors. Get a bag like this. I get two myself. Use promo code MTF and you get 15% off your order. Guys, what's not to love about coffee, free money, and deliciousness? A Fuera coffee.
Yeah, MT Field, where the action's real. Sports news and odds, that's our deal. From underdogs to favorites, we break it down.